Hello, I'm Josh Pajoli from Terp News. We're here today to bring you the breaking news of Judge Amy Coney Barrett's confirmation from the Senate as the next Supreme Court Justice. Judge Amy Coney Barrett was nominated as the successor of Ruth Bader Ginsburg by President Donald Trump in September. Reporters of Terp News today had the honor of speaking with a couple members of the UMD community and listened to what they had to say about the nomination.
Good morning, Dr. Spivey. So I'm just going to start off this interview by asking you your take on the Supreme Court nomination made by President Trump in the recent weeks.
I am not at all impressed by this move to ram a nominee onto the court literally a month before an election. The Constitution allows them to do it. The Constitution is silent as to the question of when and sort of how too. It just says advising consent. It doesn't explain what that means. It doesn't set any kind of time periods. However, in order for constitutional democracy to really operate, there needs to be an appreciation of constitutional norms as opposed to constitutional law. And constitutional norms, a traditional constitutional norm is a norm of fair play, that each side treats the other side the way they would want to be treated, with the notion that some forbearance is required if we're going to have this kind of ongoing political contest. And here, a political norm which had existed for a long time has been broken by trying to ram this nomination through. And that is wrapped up also with the failure to even give a hearing to Merrick Garland in the last year of Obama's administration. And so it really smacks here of just the raw exercise of political power, that the Republicans will bend the rules however they need to in order to try to achieve a conservative majority.
Could you just give us your overall take on this election and what the Supreme Court nomination means to the election as a whole, in your opinion?
Well, I think at the end of the day, probably not much. Historically, the only voters who have really paid attention to this kind of issue are conservative voters who want more conservative judges because they want to overturn Roe v. Wade. Those voters were already going to vote for Trump anyway. And so having a Judge Barrett nominated to the court doesn't gain Trump any votes, in my view. We are such a polarized society at the moment. There are just not many undecideds out there.
We also had the opportunity to speak with Jenny Leapoff, a junior at UMD, on her take of the nomination.
What do you think about the nomination of a new Supreme Court justice during an election year?
I don't think it should have happened because in the past history, Abraham Lincoln actually didn't let a new one come when he was becoming president. And it also happened with Obama, and Obama waited until the next president was in for the next Supreme Court justice, and I just think it's the respectful thing to do.
How do you think the death of RBG impacted this year's election?
I think the death of RBG really got people thinking because they were scared about Amy Coney Barrett coming in because of her political views. So I feel like more people were urged to vote so that they could make sure that it stayed pro-choice rather than pro-life.
Thanks to Matt and Jessica for the interviews. We'll be keeping you updated on this story as new information becomes available. My name is Josh Pajoli, signing off for Terp News.